Alright guys, I just got a new bow. I wanted to show it to you. This is the Bowtech CP28. It is a short axle to axle. It's 28 inches axle to axle. Shoots like an absolute dream. It tunes really easy. I just wanted to go over my initial first impressions of it. Me and Jared, my buddy, got it tuned, mostly him. I'm just telling you guys, this thing is a sweet shooting bow. I really, really like it. Going to go over a few things that I really like about it, as well as this black gold Pro Hunter HD, the Ripcord Max rest with the integrated mounting system, which is another cool feature of this bow, and the shift lock tight spot quiver. It's a sweet quiver. I never even thought that I could be jacked up about a quiver. I'm pretty psyched about this thing. And overall guys, I think you're going to really like this bow. So my initial first impression when I got this bow on my doorstep, the box came to my doorstep, I picked it up with one hand, and I was like, it doesn't even feel like there's anything in this box. It feels super light. Open it up, sure enough, my bow is in here. I think it's a about 4.4 pounds, and it's adjustable 24.5 to 30 inches on your draw length. My draw length is 26.5, so I have a super short draw length, which makes a short axle to axle bow really, really nice. I'm using it mostly in a saddle in a tree setup where I may have branches, I may have tight spots that I need to shoot through, as well as hunting from the ground. If I'm sitting down, I need as much clearance from the ground as possible so that my cams aren't touching the ground when I shoot. So that is one of the reasons why I chose the CP28. It comes in a 50, 60, and 70 pound limb. I have the 70 pound limbs. I think I'm shooting somewhere around 67 pounds on my draw weight. The IBO rating is 335 feet per second, which I think with my heavier arrows plus me being a short draw length, I think I'm shooting somewhere around 260. And that's with a pretty heavy arrow, which is really good. If you're not a short guy and you're not shooting heavy arrows, you may not know that may sound really slow. But for where I'm at, for what I'm doing and what I'm shooting, it actually performs really, really well. I can tell a noticeable difference from this bow from my previous bows with this arrow setup. Like I've said all throughout, this is a 28-inch axle to axle and 6 3/4 brace height. Now let's talk about actually shooting the bow and getting it tuned. So last week, after I got the bow in the mail, I took it to my buddy Jared McNeil here in Alabama. And Jared's a bow wizard. He's really good at what he does. The reason I like finding people like this is because they're going to take their time on what they're doing. You can take it to a big box store, but a lot of times that's kind of not a great option, especially this time of year when everybody's getting their bows done and getting work done on their bows and getting new bows and all that stuff. And they simply probably have the capability of doing it really well, but they don't have the time. They've got 15 bows to get out this week, whereas a guy like Jared doing it for a hobby, really kind of just a side hustle, he's able to put in a lot of time and pay a lot of attention to detail. And that's exactly what he did with this bow. But the cool thing was Jared was really excited about working on this bow specifically because of this little red thing right here. This is the Deadlock tuning system that Bowtech has put on a lot of their bows, and it is pretty freaking cool. Now, I've talked to a lot of guys who are really good at archery tuning and getting bows set up, and they all really like the Deadlock system from Bowtech. And the reason is because they don't need to put the bow in a press to get it tuned correctly. Obviously, you've got to use a press for twisting strings or putting the peep sight on, things like that. But as far as the tuning of the bow goes and getting it all timed correctly, it's all done through the Deadlock tuning system, which you can do with an Allen wrench. You take it, you turn the screw, and that moves the cams side to side, gets it tuned correctly. And again, I'm not necessarily know the lingo. I don't always know what I'm talking about. That's why I got guys like Jared who really know what they're talking about.
Want to unlock your axles. You've got a tuning here if you want to go left or right. Same number of of twist and things you would put, just like old yoke tuning stuff. You can move your cam left and right without having to do spacers. In our case, we have a knock left here, so we're going to pull our cams back towards us just a little.
So as you do that, it's moving that cam.
Yep. I'm going to put a half twist in this one and put a half twist in the top. Tighten back down our lock screw, and we'll go from there.
So after I left Jared's house, it was time to figure out which arrows I wanted to shoot, as well as weight of the inserts and the broadheads that I wanted to shoot this year. And that's all really just according to what your bow likes more than anything. And so I've got my paper tune set up, my bear shaft tune set up in my shop. I figured out that this bow really likes to shoot a 300 spine arrow cut to 26.5 inches, 175 grain head with a 100 grain insert. Once I figured that out, it was time to hit the range and get it all sighted in. Alright, so moving down the line on things that I really like about my new hunting setup is the Black Gold Pro Hunter HD. Now this is an adjustable fixed pin sight. So it's got 3 pins on it. I use a 3-pin, so it's set for 20, 30, and 40. And then that 40 pin becomes a floater and it moves. You move this knob right here and it adjusts the entire housing of the sight. It's just a really well-made sight. I've never been the kind of guy to buy a really nice high-end sight, and these are premium, and so it's like opened up a whole new world for me. One thing that I really like about this, the CP28 and this Ripcord Max Rest, is the IMS, the integrated mounting system. So it takes this dovetail mounting system that's built onto this bow. You get a little more security, a little better center shot, and it also eliminates movement of the rest. Just one of the micro details of it that actually made the tuning of it relatively easy. So with all of my hunting equipment, I really like things that are smaller, less bulky, take up less space, however you want to put it, and everything from the sight, the bow, the rest, and the tight spot quiver, it all gives me the ability to have a setup that is really compact. So if you can see that, I'm used to a quiver that sticks way out here. Again, it's all small stuff, it's all minor things, but when you're trying to perfect your hunting setup, this is really nice, especially for a mobile hunter. You can adjust the hood of it, you can adjust the bottom part. It can be small, it can be longer. I have it a little bit longer so that my arrows aren't sticking out past the cams. Obviously I knew I would like it, but I didn't realize how important it was going to be to making this whole setup more compact than it already was. So guys, there you have it. That's my first impressions of the CP28 from Bowtech with the shift lock, tight spot quiver, Ripcord Max arrow rest, and the Black Gold Pro Hunter HD sight. Really like this setup. We're gonna do a more in-depth video of the actual setup whenever Matt gets his bow here in a couple weeks, and I'm really excited about you guys seeing that. But overall, man, if you're looking for a bow that is a short axle to axle with a really compact package for your hunting setup, man, I think that it'd be hard to pass up the CP28 from Bowtech. Thanks guys for watching, and hope to bring you more soon.